Hey everyone, welcome back to WrestlePop.
Alright guys, the feud between Eric Bischoff and Bret Hart is really starting to heat up. On the most recent episode of 83 Weeks, Eric Bischoff talked a lot of smack about Bret Hart, and this is what he had to say. His drawing power in the WWE was well documented by anyone who wants to do the research in an objective way. He was not a main event draw in WWE. That's it, that's a fact. It's not my fault. I wasn't there, I didn't book him. It just didn't work. He was the champion, he was the face of the company, and he was the least successful World Heavyweight Champion, or at least one of, in WWE history, which is a long freaking history. It is what it is.
Wow, that is a lot of shade Eric is throwing at Bret Hart. So guys, let's ask ourselves, whose fault is it? Was it Bret Hart's or was it Vince McMahon? Because if you guys remember, at that time, they were basically catering towards kids. Wrestling at that time, everyone knew was predetermined, let's say. They were calling it fake when I was a kid. And so a lot of adults, when I would, say I'm watching wrestling, they would just be like, oh, that fake stuff. So it didn't appeal to adults. So of course, Vince McMahon at that time was doing a lot of hokey characters like Bastion Booger and Duke the Dumpster Droese and all these other characters that, of course, just turned off adults. And I think that's why wrestling wasn't drawing at the time. It's not Bret Hart's fault. It's not Diesel's. It's just the storyline was just terrible.
And also, Eric, if Bret didn't draw, why on earth would you bring him over to WCW and sign him to a $2 to $3 million contract? It makes no sense.
That's a really good point. And here's the other thing, guys. I always felt right when they had the whole Canada versus USA thing and Bret Hart turned heel. I think that was his best work. The fans in America were just really hating on Bret Hart. Bret Hart really, I think in my opinion, he was better as a heel. He knew how to push people's buttons. And unfortunately, the Montreal screw job happened, so we weren't able to continue that storyline. And then when he showed up to WCW, from what Eric Bischoff is saying, they basically had a Bret Hart that was really angry. He was just angry at the world. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's a good thing. You got a guy who's just really fired up. He's very passionate to prove Vince McMahon wrong. But what happened? They had no clue what to do with him, which is really shocking because you signed this guy for $2 or $3 million. Bret Hart always says this. He would show up to Nitro. You guys had no clue what to do with him. And I think this is a good example of Eric Bischoff had no clue what he was doing. He was just really lucky. And look, I'm not throwing shade at the guy. Facts are facts. But at the same time, Bret Hart, he's just angry nowadays, and he just talks a lot of smack. And of course, Bischoff wants to defend himself. And so I think that's what's happening here. So you got two guys who are just angry, and they're just angry with each other. They got a feud going on. It's very entertaining. So hopefully Bret Hart responds to this.
Alright guys, that's the video. If you like what we're doing here, definitely check out our other channel, 5 Minute Eats, and don't forget to give us a like and subscribe.